I did this because, yeah, you ain't got time for that copyright shit. Who you gonna got? What up there, guys? This is Jughead82. Trim that beard down. Yeah, had to. But this is a quick video, basically talking about Ghostbusters 1 and Ghostbusters 2. Now, this right here is a little box set that I had got years ago from Walmart, Ghostbusters 1 and 2. This was actually the double feature gift set. Really cool. It has actually a booklet talking about the original transcript for the original Ghostbusters movie. And I sat there and I'm one of those people that when I first saw the first Ghostbusters movie, it blew my mind away. This actually is like the little booklet right here. It's a movie scrapbook, basically, talking about Ghostbusters. But yeah. And the thing that I always admired about Ghostbusters, because like I said, it was that one of those movies that, first of all, just loved it. Huge fan of the original Saturday Night Live. So you had Bill Murray, you had Dan Aykroyd, Harold Ramis, I believe, was one of the writers on the SNL back in the day also. So you had all these different characteristics. Just an amazing movie. Ghostbusters is one of my go-to movies. If I watch a movie back to back, it's going to be Ghostbusters. I've seen Ghostbusters I don't know how many times. The thing about, to me, the overall feel of Ghostbusters 1 to Ghostbusters 2, and that's where we're going to dive into the dichotomy of the first Ghostbusters to the second Ghostbusters, is that we look at different elements. First of all, let's go with the story of Ghostbusters. You have these two college professors or scientists, whatnot, who are, studying psychology. Dr. Peter Venkman studying psychology and also getting with the co-heads. Come on, man. Peter Venkman's character is, he's a player. He gets around, put it like that. Then you have Egon, who is, once again, psychologically gifted, mind, very, very knowledgeable person. And you have Ray Stantz, who's the rambunctious out there. Ray is kind of like me. So Ray is like, that character in between. But, if you've seen Ghostbusters, you know that basically the schooling, the funding, they don't have the money. They don't need this particular part of their, curriculum, so they're getting kicked out of the university, basically. So they're studying stuff dealing with the paranormal and also different things. So of course they go to the library and they do all this stuff like that, and and all this stuff. But not to give you too much inklings of the movies like that, because if you've never seen Ghostbusters, I don't know where the hell you've been. But yeah. But as it relates to the full overall casting of the movie, it was top notch. I mean, everybody that was in the role. By the way, I got my Ghostbusters. I love this Ghostbusters shirt. It's clean as hell. I got a Ghostbusters shirt right there that's sitting on the thing. It's kind of like a little background. And then I also have another Ghostbusters shirt that's like that one, but it's like the one that kind of looks like it's been worn. This is more of like a neon, kind of like Ghostbusters name, by the way. Yeah. So to just get to the meats and grits of the video, basically, is that I've always been a fan of Ghostbusters 1 as well as Ghostbusters 2. Ghostbusters 1, to me, is just one of those movies that's going to always be super dear to my heart because it was, it's the first one. And I loved it. When I first saw Ghostbusters 2, it was roughly a year or maybe 2 years after the movie, of course, debuted in theaters, and that was like around 91. The movie debuted in theaters around 89. But the thing about it was that for me, look, phone ring. Yeah. Some spam. I'm just gonna try to go on Get that out the way. But anyway, what's my train of thought? Anyway, it probably was a ghost trying to call. But anyway, the thing that I've learned about the dichotomy between the first movie and the second movie is this right here. When the first movie came out, Ghostbusters was not as known as it is prior to that sequel coming out. So therefore, when the first Ghostbusters movie came out, it was more catered toward adults, to be honest with you. I mean, if you look at some of the stuff, we saw, we kicked its ass. Then stuff like, let's send this prehistoric bitch back home to this man has no dick. And stuff like that. It's like, you could tell the first movie was adult. It really, they did not produce that movie, the original Ghostbusters, to be catered toward children. I'm just going to be honest. The Green Blog, for instance. Slimer, he wasn't even called Slimer in that movie. The context of what that first movie was to the sequel. Now, the sequel came out in 89. At that point, the real Ghostbusters cartoon series had been out for roughly 3 to 4 years. So they used elements from that series to put into Ghostbusters 2. And you can see that in, of course, let's give a perfect example. Egon Spengler, his character arc, his the way his hair was, for instance. In the first Ghostbusters, Egon, decent hair, whoop, whoop. In the sequel, Ghostbusters 2, you can tell his hair was kind of made to duffed up a little bit more to look more to the resemblance of the character from the series. Ernie Hudson. Now, this is the one that people say, like, I actually saw an interview Ernie Hudson did about why did he get rid of the mustache. He stated that it was at the time that he was finna do Ghostbusters 2, he was also doing another movie, I believe, and he didn't have enough time to grow it back. But I still kind of feel like the real Ghostbusters, once again, dwelled in that because of Winston Zeddemore on the real Ghostbusters series didn't have to have a mustache. So that was another element. Another element of this movie was that the adult-oriented content compared to the first Ghostbusters movie was toned way down. You had it more kid-friendly and more of just general. First of all, Dana Barrett's character in this movie has a child now. Now, I don't know, like, the logistics, because you kind of look at it like this. Of course, Peter Venkman's player. So you would have to say that from the time of the first movie going into the second movie, him and Dana did kind of get together. But maybe they did not. But then again, you don't really know. But then at the same time, she was with the musician or whatever. So I don't know. Plus, you got to look at how the baby is. The baby's like probably, barely a year old. So who knows? But it kind of actually looks weird because there's one scene in the movie of Ghostbusters 2 where Peter Venkman and the baby kind of look at each other for a minute, and you can kind of see a little bit of Peter Venkman in that baby. So I don't know, maybe they did bust the boots. Now I'm just saying. Now that's an episode more to go in, but like I said, when you look at those different things and the elements of how the first movie was different from the second movie, it's like I said once again, Ghostbusters 2, the child connecting to the children more, plus the sequel was heavily marketed for children. For action figures, toys, all that shit. You name it. The original movie did have figures to come out, but it wasn't necessarily catered. Like I said, that movie originally was not catered toward the children. Even though when I first saw Ghostbusters 1, which was like around 86, something like that. I know it was almost around the same time the real Ghostbusters was out. And like I said, that's it. For me being a little jokester, I wasn't but like 4 or 5. The movie was it thrilled me then and it thrills me now. But I have to say, like I said, that part, now it's another critique that many people will say about this movie. They felt it was treading on the same sit up as the original movie. And you can have a give and take with that. And what I mean by that is like I don't think necessarily Ghostbusters 2 was more of a rehatch of the first movie. I think it had its own little similarities, but not too similar. One thing about the Ghostbusters 2 I never understood is that in the sequel, they got kicked in the ass or something. The city, they had to pay off some shit and all this shit right here. The stuff that happened in the first movie, from the earthquake to the shit with the ghost and all that stuff, everyone in the city saw this stuff, right? So, for me, I felt that part of the movie I really didn't get. I didn't get why they had went out of business. Because, first of all, if all this stuff was going on, like it was shown in the movie to be happening, legit happening, and everybody saw this, then there should have been some guaranteed backing of it. When they, at the beginning of Ghostbusters 2, when they showed, well, Ray Stantz as well as Winston Zeddemore go to the kid's house for the birthday party, right? And he says, my dad said you guys are full of shit, and that's why y'all guys went out of business. And by the way, that was Ivan Reitman's son, who is now doing the new Ghostbusters Afterlife whenever that comes out. And like I said, I'm ready for it. But I don't get it. How the fuck all that shit happened in the first movie, and all of a sudden y'all are out of business? So the Ghostbusters are out of business. Peter has went on and did a talk show, daytime talk show or whatever, variety show or whatever. And Egon is, doing his studies. I don't get it. Just like I said, I just don't get it. That's one part of Ghostbusters 2 that always puzzled me. Because literally, it was almost the end of the world. The Ghostbusters saved New York and probably the world too. So literally, this stuff should have been broadcast all over everything. I just don't get it. Now, another thing about it is that the retreading is when the Ghostbusters, of course, in the first movie, bust Slimer, and then all of a sudden, they do the montage and stuff of the Ghostbusters are here and stuff. They actually kind of did that in Ghostbusters 2. That was when, of course, they were on trial because of what they were doing in the sewer system. And they, of course, the Scolari brothers and stuff like that, the ghosts came back again, and Ghostbusters had to do what they had to do. And, of course, we're the one, we're the only Ghostbusters. And then, then they do the Ghostbusters stuff like that. So, yeah, that was, similar on tone with the first movie. But like I said, in this situation, it was kind of like they're coming back. We're back, Ghostbusters, But I just really just felt like, to me, I liked it. I like Ghostbusters 2. I don't put it overly higher than Ghostbusters. I put them almost in and out, but Ghostbusters is the original. It's always going to be there for me. But that part. Now let's go to the villains. In the first Ghostbusters, you have Gozer. Then in the sequel, you have Vigo, the Carpathian. And this is why I say once again, there's nothing really the same about these two characters. First of all, Gozer, we don't get to see until literally close to the end of the fucking movie. So, we finally we'll actually see the form of Gozer, because Gozer is not necessarily a particular form in general, but that form was, of course, of an attractive woman. And, of course, Gozer ends up taking the form again of, this and that. But anyway, what is my issue is that in the sequel, Vigo is there. Vigo is there as soon as you see his painting. Vigo is there. Vigo is like looking over corners and shit. Vigo is like possessing motherfuckers, doing some crazy shit like that. Vigo is there through the whole movie. So I have to say that when it comes to the overall villains in either movie, it's not the same. So there's another part. Now, many people can sit there and say like the trading path of the topic. First of all, in the original movie, there was no topic of what was going on, except that We knew Gozer was evil. Gozer was trying to bring on the end of the world and all that. In the sequel, we know that Vigo is brought back literally from the hatred of people being angry at each other. It makes you think Vigo probably should be here now, because you know the way things are now. But to me, they're two different movies as it relates to that overall feel. The soundtracks, the original Ghostbusters theme, still there for me. Ray Parker Jr.'s "Who You Gonna Call?" Ghostbusters. You know, that's iconic. That's even the sequel still had to use that theme. I do like Bobby Brown's "On Our Own" because it has that good feel too. Go, I can't swim on a have to take control. I like. I'm gonna be honest with you. Every time Ghostbusters 2 would go off, I would sing all those songs, and even in the original, I was singing all the Ghostbusters songs too. Like, of course, saving the day, saving the day. Ooh, well, you know, I'm just joking. But like I said, overall, if you've seen Ghostbusters 1, you definitely need to see Ghostbusters 2. They're different movies. The whole overall feel is different. Don't sit there and just think, oh man, I've heard so many people say Ghostbusters 1 is literally, Ghostbusters 2 is literally Ghostbusters 1 with a new coat of paint. No. The only new coat of paint was the Ecto. The Ecto 1A. That's different a little bit than the Ecto 1. But actually, the same car, but it's just been refixed and tuned up. And like I said, the tones are different. That's how you can see it too. Because like I said, the original movie was more adult in its tone, and the sequel kind of brought it down a little bit to be more child friendly. So you definitely see that. Overall, the cast is still the same. It's all pretty much the way you look at it. Ghostbusters, man. And like I said, I've been a Ghostbusters fan for years. I thoroughly enjoyed both movies. I thoroughly enjoyed the real Ghostbusters cartoon series. I even enjoyed it when it was like the real Ghostbusters and Slimer. So yeah, I got problems. I used to watch real Ghostbusters every Saturday morning. So yeah, even watched Extreme Ghostbusters, the revamp of the series back in like 96, 97. But yeah, that's been my critique. Both movies are great. I do prefer the first one more because, like I said, it just holds that more nostalgic feel to me. But yeah, Ghostbusters, man, you can't go wrong with either one or two. And hopefully, the sequel 3, Ghostbusters Afterlife. Yes, I said it. Ghostbusters Afterlife is the sequel, official sequel, because it's actually it's connected to the whole verse of that Ghostbusters. Now the other one with the women in it, I have nothing against that movie. I thought that movie was okay because, like I said, when I finally watched that movie, I thought it was decent. I felt it was not anywhere near the other two Ghostbusters movies, but it had its own merit. But yeah, this is Jughead 82 saying,